Ever looked up at the sky and wondered why it's blue, or why bread rises in the oven? These are just a few of the everyday phenomena that surround us, and they all have fascinating science behind them. Today, we're going to take a closer look at the science that makes our world go round, in ways we might not even realize. Let's start with something simple, the color of the sky. It might seem like a small detail, but the reason the sky looks blue is actually a result of a phenomenon called Rayleigh scattering. Here's the deal: sunlight looks white to us, but it's actually made up of all colors of light: red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet. These colors have different wavelengths, and when sunlight hits the Earth's atmosphere, it interacts with their molecules. The shorter wavelengths, like blue and violet, scatter much more easily than the longer wavelengths like red and yellow. Why do we see blue, not violet? Well, our eyes are more sensitive to blue light, and the upper atmosphere absorbs some of the violet light. So, the next time you gaze up, remember, the sky is blue because of scattered light. Why do we yawn? Next, let's talk about yawning. It's something we all do, sometimes without even thinking about it. But why do we yawn in the first place? Well, scientists aren't entirely sure, but there are a few solid theories. One popular theory is that yawning helps cool down the brain. When we yawn, the action opens our mouths wide and increases air intake, which helps to cool the brain, keeping it at an optimal temperature for functioning. Another theory suggests yawning is related to oxygen levels. When we're tired, our breathing can become shallow. Yawning could be a way to take in more oxygen and get rid of excess carbon dioxide, boosting our alertness. And, of course, yawning is contagious. You've probably noticed that seeing someone else yawn makes you yawn too. This might be linked to social bonding and empathy, as if our brains are synchronized with those around us. Why do we have seasons? Ever wondered why we have seasons? It's not because we move closer to or further away from the sun, it's all about the tilt of Earth's axis. The Earth's axis is tilted at about 23.5 degrees, and this tilt stays the same as Earth orbits around the sun. During different parts of the year, this means different parts of the Earth get more direct sunlight than others. In the summer, the hemisphere tilted towards the sun gets more sunlight, making the days longer and warmer. Meanwhile, during winter, that hemisphere gets less sunlight, leading to shorter days and cooler temperatures. And what about spring and fall? Those are the equinoxes, when both hemispheres get equal sunlight, resulting in roughly equal day and night lengths. Why do bubbles pop? Now, let's have some fun with bubbles. We've all watched a bubble float around before it suddenly bursts. But what makes it pop? Bubbles are made from a thin film of soapy water, and they form when air is trapped inside. The soap molecules create a kind of surface tension that holds everything together. But as the bubble gets bigger, the film becomes thinner, making it weaker. When the bubble touches something sharp, or even just a dry surface, the film breaks, and the air inside rushes out. That release of pressure causes the bubble to burst. And here's the cool part: the surface tension that holds the bubble together is actually a balance of forces. If one force becomes too strong, like air pressure or an external force, the bubble will pop. Why does bread rise? Now, let's talk about something delicious: bread. Have you ever wondered why bread dough rises when you bake it? The answer lies in yeast. Yeast is a type of fungus that feeds on sugar. When you mix yeast with flour and water, it begins to break down the sugars in the flour, producing carbon dioxide gas as a byproduct. This gas gets trapped in the dough, causing it to expand or rise. And when you bake the dough, the gas bubbles expand even more in the heat, creating a light and fluffy texture. The yeast is working hard, turning the sugars into gas, and in the end, you get that perfect loaf of bread. So, whether it's the blue sky above, the bread rising in the oven, or the mystery of yawning, there's science everywhere, even in the most ordinary things. By understanding the science behind these everyday phenomena, we can appreciate the world around us just a little bit more. If you enjoyed exploring these scientific wonders with me, make sure to like this video and hit that subscribe button for more. And remember, next time you see a bubble pop or the sun shining brightly, you'll know exactly why.